Hey everybody, I'm back with more Graphic God Draws. We're going to continue our drawing of Spider-Man. If you missed the first episode, there was some trouble with it publishing or rendering properly on YouTube. I'll look into that and see what's going on. But I'll make sure the links are all available for everyone who wants to see the first half of this first half of this series. So in case you just arrived this time, hey Stinking Corpse, I drew this part this afternoon, and I'll show you what the original sketch looked like. Let me just turn off some layers here. Turn this one on. So this was the original sketch that I did in Photoshop, and we are now going to be tracing it in Illustrator to get it all in vector and beauty and all that jazz. And if anyone saw the very first trial episode of Graphic God Draws, I did a Spider-Man at that time, but I made a couple of mistakes where I should have done some things on some different layers, and I'm going to make sure I'm not going to make those same mistakes this time. So this is what we've got so far, as you guys can see. Yes, I created a couple layers. If you see over here in my layers palette, I've got layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. So layer 1 is my sketch, layer 2 is my vector, and layer 3 is going to be my webs. So what I'm going to do my webs is a little trick. So I'm going to make sure I don't ruin this layer. I'm going to copy this layer, Control C to copy, and then I'm going to lock that layer, and I'm going to open up my layer 3 and I'm going to paste it right on top. So basically I just pasted a copy on layer 3. So I can turn off layer 2 for now. We're not going to need to look at him. Okay, so here we go. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the webs. And if you watched the last episode, you'll know that what I explained to people was overlapping is fine. It's a quick way to get things done, and the faster you draw, the more smooth the lines look, and you don't have to worry about going outside the lines and stuff like that, but because I have a little trick to help people out there. And no, I'm not drinking beer tonight, unfortunately. It's Thursday. I wish I was, though. That'll be tomorrow. So I'm going to zoom into my drawing. So I copied that layer, so I'm not going to end up ruining anything. I'm going to pick my paintbrush. Make sure that my favorite brush is already selected over here, which is the one that's tapered on both ends, which it is. And I'm going to bring my line stroke down to 0.25. Okay. Haha, you're laughing at me, Stink. I know, I made a couple mistakes last time. I won't make those mistakes this time. So let's start with the lines. So we're going to do a line here. I'm going to do a line there. Line there. Line here. Line here. Line here. Remember, don't worry about the overlaps. Line there. Line there. And that all looks just about right. Let me turn off some of my tools so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay. So now I'm going to draw some more lines here. Let's do some spider sounds. Let's Bob Ross it. Zoom over here, over there, overlap. Let's do his boots. Oh, I better go. Here's the trick about overlapping. Make sure you do overlap lines, because if you don't overlap the lines, the technique that I'm going to show you doesn't actually work. So I'm going to go... Oh, I do too many there. Okay, that one didn't actually overlap. Let's try it again. Damn it. I'm not drawing far enough. There we go, that's better. And then a shirt. And that looks just about right. So now we can connect up things here in the mask. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to draw connections to each of these sections. And lastly, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I added the background music, so what I did was I took a compilation of a bunch of free metal tracks that are on YouTube, and I just made a huge compilation of them. I think I must have over an hour to work with, so it's all good. And let's do this. Remember, overlapping's fine. Yeah, I always listen to music when I'm drawing. Actually, I kind of listen to music when I'm doing everything except listening to podcasts. Turn on my tools so I can get my pointer tool here. Go. I can see everything full screen now. If you see me looking up, it's just because I'm looking up at the chat. Yeah. I'm thinking these might be a little problematic because they're not totally connected. But we'll deal with that when the time comes. Those two fingers. No, I don't like those. Remember, overlapping is your friend. It's another way to draw fast too and not have to worry about stuff. Let's go over here. And you know, it doesn't have to be perfect because no one's critiquing how perfect your lines are as long as it looks good. And fingers. Hey Siberia, thanks for showing up, buddy. We're doing more Spider-Man. I don't know if you guys had seen the earlier episode where I started this. What we gotta do is short here. I always go with classic costume. Is this the one I grew up with? I'm just glad you showed up, dude. Okay, so if you saw what I did, I basically just overlapped a bunch of lines together. Let me go back to the sketch. So there's the sketch. There are my lines. I didn't draw the spider symbol yet because I'll probably do that last. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to break apart all of these lines with the method I showed you guys before with expand appearance. So I'm going to select all, object, expand appearance, object, live paint. So I determined today why you need to expand appearance before live paint, because if you don't, all your lines will shrink. Okay, I'm going to make that. And then last but not least, we're going to expand one more time. And then there. So all this is ready. Let me just turn off that background there. Okay, so now that we've got all this ready, I can now start deleting, using the right tool, the lines that I don't need. Let me get my keyboard out here because I'm going to use the delete key on the keyboard. Keep that accessible here. So delete. Get the proper mouse here. There we go. So I'm going to select, delete. Select, delete. Delete. Sometimes they're a little fussy. Don't need that little fella there. It looks like he's wrong. Delete him. Delete him. I'm noticing that the color of my lines might be a little bit different than the black that I was using before. That's not gonna matter anyway. Delete. And Stink, so I know you were commenting on my music, but if you want this compilation, I literally just went to YouTube, typed in heavy metal under the music library, grabbed every single one of their MP3s, and put them all together as one long compilation. So if you want it for your streams, yeah, you can have them for sure. I don't mind sharing. I do not mind sharing. Because sharing is caring. And if I should care about anyone, it's you, man. You support me in everything I do, and I super appreciate you so much. Yeah. I'm having thoughts, and I'm gonna get your guys' opinions on this. So right now I'm streaming on the MNC channel. So the MNC channel is my channel, and it was kind of my way to oh yeah, Corpse is awesome. I tried to use the MNC channel as a way to get people to come and view my content, because when we did the Gleam contest last year for the Xbox One X, we I got a lot of subscribers through that for the MNC. So we have over 1,400 subscribers on the MNC official channel. And what is the MNC official channel? Well, basically we have all of the past episodes are there. You can watch them all in one place rather than having to sift through Mooch and Crap's separate channels to find them. So you can find them all in one place. We also have all the skits that we do, the top 10s and the rundowns and all the commercials. They're all there as well, that you can just watch individually and not have to watch an entire show to see them. So I created that channel as a way to try to make up for the fact that I wasn't making any money on through MNC and MNC Mornings, because Mooch and Crap both own those channels, and the official show that comes on once a week is usually aired on their channel, and I don't share in the revenue of that. And not to say that this is all about the money, because it's not all about the money, but what it's about is being able to sustain what I do. If I could do this full time, I would. I'm hoping that this doing Graphic God games and Graphic God draws might draw in a different kind of audience. I do some gaming that's kind of unique to other people. Hey Anthony, thanks for coming. So yeah, I do some unique things. I game with one hand. I'm not sure if anybody knows the reason why I game with one hand, and I'm not afraid to talk about it. It's not like it's a secret. But I had an illness when I was a kid. It was a kind of a freak thing. They called it an AVM, which was oh man, I can't pronounce the words. Basically, it was like a birthmark on my brain. This happened to me when I was 14. And what happened was I got really sick. They didn't know what was wrong with me. I was having headaches and throwing up. So my parents took me to the hospital and they thought I had a really bad flu. So they admitted me and they gave me antibiotics and they gave me fluids and they did whatever they could to try to get me better. And it seemed like even after a week, I wasn't getting better. So they sent me to a specialist in the big city. Oh, Anthony didn't realize it was a disability. Yeah, sorry, man. Yeah. So let me finish the story and you'll understand. So I went to see a specialist, and the specialist saw that I had some weakness on my left side, and he was a little concerned because I was only 14 at the time. So he sent me for a CAT scan, which is basically a scan of your brain. And because apparently what the symptoms were showing were symptoms of stroke and stuff like that. So he sent me to the big city where I live now, actually, to get a CAT scan and to see if everything was okay. He was hoping that everything would come back clear and that it would just kind of go away, but he had some concerns over what he had witnessed when he was doing his observations. So they sent me to the city, and they did a CAT scan, and they discovered something on my brain. So they didn't know what it was. They thought it was a tumor. Okay, and of course red flags go up when they think you have a tumor. So they basically said, okay, so that was like a Friday, and they said, okay, we see something. We're going to do surgery on Monday. Okay, so like I said, this was a Friday. They're going to do surgery on Monday. So, you know, me being a kid, I don't remember a whole lot about that time of my life, but I think my parents freaked out a little bit, which, you know, who would blame them? So they admitted me into the hospital, and the hospital they admitted me into was called the IWK, which is the children's hospital here in the big city. And it's probably like the best place any kid could go. Like, I know there are lots of children's hospitals in the world, but the IWK is phenomenal for what they do for kids and what they can do. They have like they have some of the top doctors in Canada there that work there. Long story short, they admitted me in the hospital. They said we're going to do surgery on Monday, and at 2:30 in the morning, and so these are stories that I was told. 2:30 in the morning, the nurses heard a plunk. So I was admitted into a room. Nurses heard a plunk, and they ran into my room and they basically found me on the floor. So at that point, I had to be resuscitated, and they took me to surgery like immediately, like emergency surgery. What had happened was whatever they had seen on my brain had ruptured, and they took me for surgery. They removed what it was, but because it had already ruptured, it had caused some damage to my brain, basically. Yes, I had brain damage. Haha. Insert joke now. So I had basically a stroke when I was 14. This is the best way I could explain it. And from there, I was in the hospital for the entire summer, and I was partially paralyzed. So basically what that means is that, like, my left side, I couldn't walk, I couldn't move my arms, I couldn't do anything. And I had to retrain myself to do all that again. You know, to this day when I think about it, you know, I never had a hard life, and the fact that I went through all that trauma and stuff, it didn't really affect me in that way. Where you know, there are some people that are affected permanently when stuff like that happens, and it affected me physically, but it didn't. You know, I'm still Jay, right? I'm still the guy. I was big into video games at the time, and I was determined that I would continue playing video games. And this was like 1987, and what came out in 1987 was the Sega Master System. The Nintendo came out a year before that, the NES. But the Master System came out, and I told my mom and dad that I wanted a Master System. And so they got me one for Christmas, and I played Master System like Hang On and Safari Hunt so much until I mastered them. Like I rolled over Hang On so many times. I was determined I wasn't going to let what happened to me slow me down. So I basically said, screw you, disability, or I don't consider what I have a disability, but I guess some people would. You know, screw your life, I'm not letting you take away all the fun. Where are we at here? So we got Spiderman, he's all drawn, he's got his webs. What do you guys think of him so far? Yeah, so here's a funny story about that, Siberia. So I was in the hospital bed when it all happened. One of the nurses told me after the fact that they came into my room to put the rail up on my bed. Okay, to put the rail up. I guess that's a standard thing that they have to do for everyone. And I told them apparently that I didn't want a rail on my bed because I'm not a baby. Okay, so because it basically made me feel like I was in a crib. So they didn't put the rail up. And at 2 a.m. when they heard a plunk, because I'd fallen out of bed because I had the aneurysm. But had they not listened to me and put the rail up, I never would have fallen out of bed, and they may not have found me on time. Isn't that a crazy bit of information? So anyway, if anyone's wondering what I'm doing here, I'm just cleaning up the lines. Let's just turn that on. See, now I've got my webs on a separate layer, and the beauty of that is now when I do my fills, I don't have to worry about all the webs. Understand what I did, guys? Anyway, so long story short, I had basically a stroke when I was 14. When they did surgery, they found that it wasn't a tumor. It was like a blood clot on my brain that just ruptured. And it left me partially paralyzed, and I had to learn to walk again. I had to learn to do everything again. I had to learn to dress myself. All that baloney. So that is kind of the reason why I stayed in the career that I'm in. So I learned to love computers over the years, and I was always a big artist, meaning I used to draw everything when I was a kid. So moving into graphic design was almost like a natural progression for me. What was I going to say? I was going somewhere with that story. Yeah, so I always wanted to do something I was good at. I knew that I'd want to continue doing something that I was good at, and art was something I was good at, something I enjoyed, and I knew that I'd probably want to have a career in that. That's why I pursued it. And the greatest thing about doing this kind of job is I can do it all with one hand. You know, I don't have to worry about I do have two hands, but both hands don't work the same. So that's why I got into doing graphic design and art, and I've continued I'm just reading Anthony's text here. Grandmother has to go for brain surgery next month to bring down the balloon of blood on her brain. Oh wow. Well, you know, I wish your grandma all the luck in the world, and the way that doctors are today and technology is today, I'm sure she'll come out of that perfectly fine. So, and I know that doesn't help you. I'm sure people are worried, but you know, I think everything will go great. So we're gonna do a fill of Spider-Man now. We're gonna get some red. Pick a nice red. And I'm gonna choose my live paint bucket, and we're gonna fill in the areas that I want to stay red. This is all pretty simple. Whoop! Didn't want to do that. Gonna make sure you don't touch your lines when you fill. Okay. So this is kind of like paint by numbers almost in a way. There are actually like some paint programs you can find online that allow you to do this kind of painting. 76. Yeah, my mom is 76. So yeah, and my mom's had cancer twice, and you know, I have all the faith in the world in today's medical system. So I know that doesn't make things better, and people are going to worry, but I just want to kind of give you a heads up that, you know, things will work out fine for her. I have all the faith in the world. Okay, so there are our solid colors. We're going to turn back on our webs. See that? See how much simpler that was, Stink? Remember last time how hard that was? Man, why did I put myself through that? Ridiculous. Okay, something I don't like is I don't like the color of my webs, because they are a different color. So I'm going to lock everything else, select all my webs, and I'm going to make them black, which is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. It's still not perfect. Why are they not matching up? Something weird going on there. Yeah, I'm also noticing that some of these guys have an outline. I don't know what's up with that. Okay, what I'm gonna do, here's a little trick. So, since I know this color is not the color I want this color to be the same color as what the eyelids are. I'm gonna go to select, same, fill color. I'm just gonna select all those. And then I'm going to take my eyedropper tool, and I'm going to select the color that I want, and deselect, and boom. It all looks good now. Okay, let's zoom out. Okay, so who can guess what we're going to do next? And it rhymes with hating. First one guesses might win a prize. Come on. I'm gonna groove to the music till somebody guesses. Rhymes with hating. Stinking Corpse, you win a prize. You're awesome. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn off our webs. We don't need those right now. But what we do need is our solids. So I'm gonna choose where's my proper tool here? I'm going to go to my live paint select tool and pick red. Then I'm going to say select, same, fill color. I'm going to select all the red. I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to put it above my fill layer. This is going to be layer 4. I'll lock my layer 2, so I don't need to have that anymore. And I'm going to edit, paste in place, or paste in front. So now we have a layer of red on top of a layer of red, and I'll show you what that looks like. That's what it looks like. So now I'm going to change. Oh, so give your prize to Siberia. Well, I haven't even figured out what the prize is yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the red and I'm going to make it a little darker. Not a lot, but a little. Maybe that much, maybe a little more. Yeah, something like that. So if you notice, it all changed to that darkness. So if people want to see what I did, light, dark, so the dark is on top of the light. My light is locked, nothing will happen to that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut out some shading. So I'm going to go to my eraser tool. If you hold in your left mouse button on the eraser tool, you get to have a choice of 3 different items, and I'm going to go to the knife tool. So I chose knife, get out my handy pen. I'm going to pick a light source. My light source is going to be in the front, so everything in the back is going to be dark. So we're going to select everything, take my knife tool, and we're just going to draw some shading. Oh, didn't do that. Let's go Control Plus. Okay. So there's that. We're going to do that to fingers, that to thumb. Get a line up there. And let's do something like that. Maybe not that much. Gotta remember how much light is coming through there. Maybe always that much. And let's do boots. And let's do front of his spider costume. And let's do his gloves here. His individual fingers. I'm also going to add highlights, and I'll show you that too. I'll basically copy this process, but instead do the opposite. I'll do a light red afterwards. Yeah. Okay, so now that we've done that, we have, oh, maybe, I just picked out a couple other things I want to do, maybe around the glove. Yeah, you don't have to go crazy with it. Okay, so now that I've cut out what I want to keep, take my selection tool, and I'm going to select, delete, select, delete. See what I did there? It's like magic. If you're impressed, hit 1. If you're not impressed and you think Jay's a fraud, I've been called fraud before, you know. There's a particular Nimrod on the internet who called me a fraud one time, and he owed me money because I did some free work. Well, I did some work for him, and did I do something wrong there? Shit, I did too. I think I was supposed to keep. Oh, I gotta go back. I made a mistake. I need to cut this part out. So the light is going to be on the front. So this is going to be light. Yeah, I made a mistake there. That's okay. We're allowed to make mistakes. That's how you learn. Put the word great? Oh yeah. He's great! I might just keep that. Let's do that. Yeah, that's fine. So what I was doing before was I was cutting out the wrong colors. So what I have to make sure, I did it wrong again. I totally did it wrong again. I'm not paying attention to my fingers here. Okay, the light is coming from the right. So this would be bright. And this would be bright. Yes, I'm getting it now. Jay's brain doesn't work properly all the time. And this would be bright. No, actually, the top would be bright. I think I had that right the last time. This would be bright. Yeah, this makes sense now. This would be bright. Like I said, Jay's allowed to make mistakes. Right. Didn't you guys watch MNC tonight? It was a good show, although there's been some technical issues going on. I'm not sure what's going on. There's something happening with OBS. OBS is being really finicky these days. Okay, so there's some of the shading done. Let's put our webs back on so you guys can see what this will look like. Pretty neat, huh? Okay, so now we need to do the blue. That's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to duplicate that process, go back to my layer 2. I'm going to go to my live paint selection tool, choose blue, select same color. Oh, WDFC was on tonight? Man. Sorry, you know, I'd watch that show if I could. I usually watch the reruns. I watch them at work in the morning. Okay, so basically what we did was we just copied all the blue. And I'm going to lock that layer, create a new layer. I'm going to put it below the red. Doesn't really matter if it's below or above. I'm going to edit, paste in front. So we have a layer of blue. And I'll show you what that looks like. See? Layer of blue. So we're going to make this layer of blue a little darker. Do our color picker, choose a darker blue, hit OK, boom, darker blue. I'm going to take our knife tool. So remember, light source is coming from the front. So let's say this will be bright, maybe a little bit of there, front of the knee, maybe the top here be a little light, maybe a little more. A little more there. None of this would be, because it's going to be shaded because his head is in the way of the light, so you're not going to see any light coming on that end. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, so now we're going to do the same process. We're going to delete what we want to stay light. Light, light, light. Uh-oh. So the reason why that's not selecting properly is because I didn't cut enough. That's okay. I'll just take my knife tool again and do a bigger cut. Let's see if that works better. Yeah, now we can select it. There we go. Off the knee there. I think this will all be shaded because it's on that side of the body, and maybe this will be light. And there we go. Let's put the webs back on. What do you guys think so far? Looking pretty slick. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some highlights. Let's turn this off again. Don't need those webs to distract us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the red. Oh, that's the dark. I don't want the dark, I want the light. So let's just close, close, close. Go back to layer 2. We're going to do our live paint selection tool. I'm going to choose red. Select the same. Fill color. Copy this. I'm going to look at my layers. So layer 4 is red, so I'm going to paste it above. Or should I paste it above or should I paste it below? No, I should paste it above. So let's see. So things are going to look weird for a second now, where all my highlights are going to look like they vanished, but they really didn't. So let's paste here. Okay. I know that that looks weird because it looks like all the shading I just did went away, but it's just going to turn off and on and off and on. Not a big deal. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do highlights. Turn that on. Okay, so highlights are always going to happen in the way. Oh, Anthony's going. Okay, thanks for showing up, Anthony. Appreciate it, buddy. Select all. Oh yeah, so that I've already made that. So I'm going to make this red lighter. So let's go to our color palette, go a little lighter. So there we have a lighter version of the red. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut out some of the light that we want to keep. Take my knife tool. Oh, make sure I have the knife tool selected. There we go. And then we're going to do some areas that I know that I want to keep bright. Something like that. Something like that. And you don't have to be accurate, you just kind of do what you feel. No one's judging you. Okay, so I think that's about all I need. So now we're going to delete what we don't want. Delete. 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 I know what you're thinking. That doesn't look right, but that's we'll make some adjustments. It's just to get a base down what we want. Yeah. Oh, I didn't cut far enough on that one. So cut further down. Cuts like a knife. There's some good old Canadian rock for you. Okay, so now that we have our highlights, here's a little cool little trick that a lot of people don't use enough. So I'm going to select all my red. I'm going to go to my transparency option here, my transparency tools, and I'm going to go into my different modes, and I'm going to click through my modes, and you'll see some different things happen on the screen. So we got darken, didn't really do what I wanted, kind of make darker. Let's see if I can scroll through. No, I have to go through one more going. Multiply. Select that. No, that's not what I want either. Let's try lighten. So we got a lighten. That really didn't change anything. There is a method that I can do here where it's actually going to look like it blends in really nicely. I think it might be overlay. Let's try overlay. Let's see what that looks like. There. That's what I was going for. So it kind of gives you that extra bit of depth. It's subtle, but it works really well. What do you think of that? I'll turn on my webs so you guys can see what it looks like so far. Pretty neat, huh? I'm noticing something. I'm noticing there's some webs. Some web lines that I think are missing. So I'm going to go into my web layer. I'm going to draw one more set of lines here. They look like they're missing. Super hate it when I get all perfectionist like this. It's just I need to make sure that things look proper, or I'll go slowly insane. And insane J is a bad J. Yeah, I know that didn't mean a whole lot, but I know that if I kept looking at that line and it wasn't there, it would just drive me nuts. So that's why we're adding it. Let's see what else we've got going on here. So those are the highlights. Oh, we have to do the spine. Oh, something I did miss is the bottom of this foot. I think I need to delete the shading from the bottom of this foot. Which one is it? can't remember which is. It's this one here. Delete. There. Yeah, the bottom of the foot should be darker. Okay. We need to do the spider on his chest. So, because this is Illustrator, I'm going to show you guys a cool little trick. So we're going to... Oh, Wheel of Wonder. We don't need him. Let's exit him. Let's type in Google spider symbol. Enter, and then it's gonna. I'm gonna go to images. So what we're looking for is something like this. Okay. I'll let one of you guys pick. I'm kind of thinking that I really like this one here, or even this one here. But remember, the illustration's really small, so you can't have anything with a lot of detail. So either this one or this one. So this is number 2. This is number 1. What do you guys pick? Type it in the chat, 1 or 2. I'll show you again. This is 1. This is 2. Stink says 2. Siberia says 2. Okay, let's go with 2. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to copy this image. This is a cool little trick you can use in Illustrator. Go back to Illustrator. We're going to edit, paste. Whoa, he's huge. Okay, let's make him a little smaller. I didn't realize he'd be so big. Let's make him like 300. Okay, move him out of the way so you can see him. Okay, scroll over here. So because I'm in a vector program, I want this spider to be vector. So what you can do is basically select your image, go under image trace up along the top. We're going to say black and white logo. Boom! It automatically makes it a vector. And then I can expand the appearance. And then I can delete what I don't need, which is basically most of this. Oops, wrong tool. Use this tool. Select what I don't want. Delete. 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 There we go. Oh, there's a couple extra things we don't need there. So there, now we have a spider symbol that we can use on his chest. So we're going to just select him, and we're going to transform him to be at 100. That might even be too big. Let's try 75. Bring him over, and he's still too big. He's on the wrong layer. Cut them. Let's create a new layer. There we go. There we go. And the reason why I went with something that was stock like this is because the spider is pretty intricate and you want to make them look good. And I could probably fake something, but why fake it when you can just pull it off the web? And he's a little bit too wide. Let's get him out of it. He's not the right angle. Let's rotate him a little bit. And move him over. What do you think? We got our Spider-Man. The only thing we're missing now is our like swinging web. Oh, and there's something else that I just noticed, his hand. I'm wondering if I should get rid of some of the highlights on his hand. I don't think it really matters. No, I'll leave him. Okay. So let's create a new layer. Lock over other layers, and now we're going to turn on our sketch where our web is. Look, he's swinging. Spider-Man, Spider-Man. to our layer. Get our brush tool. And we are going to draw some webs. I'm going to zoom out a little bit because I want them to be like really swinging from like a long distance. So make sure my stroke is set to 0.25. And then we're going to go, oops, didn't mean to do that. I was trying to draw and I ended up selecting and moving. Where are my tools at? Where did my tools go? Something happened to my tools. Jay don't like when his tools go away. Here they are. Come on, why are you doing this? There we go. Move that out of the way. So this thing here's the Pathfinder. I'm not going to show you how to use that, but that's like a way to do some really cool shit. Okay, let's go back to our brush tool. We're going to draw some lines. Oh, our stroke went back to 1, so let's take our stroke back to 0.25 and draw some webs. Oh, they're white. I don't want them white, I want them black. Black is 000, 000. Hello, Mingus Games. Mingus? Malingus? I can't spell. I can't read. Thanks for coming by. We're drawing spider webs. Spider webs. Spider webs. We don't know why Spider-Man swings on webs, because he's spider. And since this layer is going to be behind all the other layers, I'm just going to go just be rough with it. Doesn't have to be perfect. I had Mingus right the first time. Perfect. Okay. So now that I've got those lines, I'm going to turn off that so I can see what I'm doing here. And I think I explained in my last thanks, Mingus. What I was saying in my last movie was that I loved the Todd McFarlane webs. Like he basically introduced the crazy tangled webs, which I think a lot of artists are adopting today, and it's always been my favorite. So I'm going to basically emulate what Todd McFarlane did. Yeah. Kind of like he did some weird, shifty, weird, tangly things. Doesn't matter. You can be rough. You can be precise as long as it looks like it's part of the web, right? Doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter, we're all friends here. Okay, so here's a little trick I'm going to show you guys, and hopefully it'll work. I'm going to select my web. Oh, I got a couple selections here I don't want. That guy's invisible as well. Okay, I'm going to select all these guys, and we're going to increase our stroke size to be about, let's go about that size. Okay. And yeah, that's cool. I like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all, and I'm going to object, path, outline, stroke. So basically that's going to turn all these strokes into outlines, which I can manipulate even more. So now they're all outlines. Everything is good there. And then I can select all, and I can turn them gray. So we're going to do our fill color is going to be like a kind of like a grayish, yeah, something like that. Okay, is it looking more webby? What do you think? And now here's the really cool thing, is that I can then apply a stroke to these colors that is kind of darker, like that, and voila. What do you think about that crazy web? Okay, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Jay, there's a problem. His webs are... Actually, I'm seeing other problems. That doesn't matter. His web is behind, or is in front of his hand. It should be through his hand. Okay. So that is correct. And what we want to do is we want to have it both behind his hand. Actually, I'm going to do something right now that I decided I don't like. I don't like the stroke, so I'm getting rid of the stroke. Then I'll leave it without a stroke. Yeah, I kind of like it like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy the web. Control A, Control C to copy. I'm going to go to my layers. And I'm going to create a new layer behind everything. Layer 9, I'm going to drag it down. So it's right there. Lock this one. Go to layer 9 and we're going to paste it. Edit, paste in front. Or paste in place, I mean. So now it's on layer 9. Same web is on layer 9. That is also on layer 8. Okay? And here's where the magic happens. So now I can go to my layer 8, unlock that, and I can erase what I don't want. So I'm going to take my eraser tool and I'm going to erase the web. I think I erased too much. I'm going to zoom in actually to make it a little more accurate. Let's get our eraser tool. So I want to keep, there we go. I'm going to delete this stuff here. Keep erasing too much. I have to keep it from where it shows up under his hand. Something like that. And maybe a little more here, a little more there. So, was that a good decision to get rid of that outline? I think it was. So if you see now, I zoom out, he looks like he's got the web in his hand. It's going through his hand and around his leg. What do you think of that? Well, one thing that I still want to do, and some artists do this, is they add highlights to the eyes. So I'm just being picky at this point, but that's okay. I'm allowed to be picky. It's my drawing. Let's find our we don't need to worry about that. Okay. So this here, my live selection tool. Oh, maybe I can't use that. Oh no, I can't. Okay, that's fine. I don't need to use that. I'm just going to use my regular selection tool. We're going to copy our eyes. Same process as we did before. We're going to copy that. Create a new layer. Paste it on top. Paste it on top. So now we have another layer of eyes on layer 10 now. And I'm going to create layer 10 with a kind of like a light blue. Something like this. I know what you're thinking. Don't do it, Jay. Don't do it. Jay's gonna do it. Jay's gonna do it. I'm gonna select those. And we're going to take our knife tool again. And we're going to do a funky little... Yes, do it exactly. So we're going to do some crazy little lines here. And same there. Okay. And then what do? We delete what we don't want. Delete. Delete. What do you think of that, guys? Some funky little eye things. Oh, I see a couple little notches there that I can get rid of. I gotta select this one. You could barely see it, but I could see it. Put the eyes of a hawk. Why can't I select that? It must be on a different layer. It's probably in 2 layers. He's got the eyes. No one's ever going to see that. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to do a little bit of a highlight in the eyeball. In the eyeballs. I just don't remember what layer the eyeballs are. Did I even color in the eyeballs? Maybe I didn't. Let's go to my live paint bucket. Choose a white. White is FFF, FFF. Okay. I don't know what layer it is. I'm just going to unlock all my layers. So I can find it. There we go. There's white. It was layer 3. Okay. So now we're going to live paint selection tool. Choose that. Copy that. Okay, select those 2 things. Copy them. Same process as before. Paste above. I'm going to lock all my other layers because I don't want to mess them up. Control paste in front. Then we're going to do a little bit darker. Just subtle. Okay. Take out our knife tool. And we're going to do some cutting out. And delete what we don't want. How's that? Zoom out, see how he looks. Okay, I've decided the blue doesn't have enough dimension in it. And I've noticed also, no, that's fine. I'll keep it like that. I'm going to add some dark blue to the blue area. So where's my blue at? If I was smart, what I would have done is I would have labeled all of my layers. But who needs to be smart, right? Oh, I just discovered that I didn't delete something. Delete. There we go. So I'm gonna copy this, paste that on top, lock that layer, layer 12, gonna paste on top. We're gonna make this even darker. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out some even darker areas. Create some really cool shadows. So let's go like that. Let's go like that. That's a little too much. And a little of that. No, it's not enough. That and a little of that. Now we're going to delete what we don't want. Delete. 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 And delete. There, we got some darker blues in there. Oh, maybe there's another area here. Yeah, I'll get rid of that. Okay, zoom out. What do we think, guys? You think he's done? Or do we need more? We could go in and add little lines of action if we wanted to, but I think he looks pretty good like this. What do you guys think? Mingus likes it. That's all that matters. What do you think? Now here, let me zoom in one more time so you guys can see a closer look at him and some of his details. I'll get rid of the menu items so you can see. And then now I can go in and kind of pick out some flaws if I see any. I almost want to go in and do some dark reds, but no, I think I'm fine. I could pick at them all day, right? I could just go on and on and on, but yeah, what's the point? Okay, so I'm going to use this Spider-Man in something, don't know. Maybe I'll sell him. Maybe I'll see if anyone wants to buy him. They could use him for his avatar or something like that. Maybe I'll use him for my avatar for a little while. Who knows? Okay, I'm gonna finish off. I'm gonna add my little signature. I haven't drawn my signature in a while, so hopefully I don't mess it up. Let's go to brush tool. Okay, zoom in, put it down here. We're gonna go. Oh, it's too thick. Gotta go even thinner. Maybe 0.15. I want it to be blue. And, yeah.
Now?
Yep. Cool. Anyway, guys, that's it. I am done. Thanks for stopping by. I gotta go pick up my daughter. Thanks for stopping by, and you guys rock. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and thanks for liking. See you guys later on the next show of Graphic God Draws. See ya.